Hey everyone, it's Kyle Kramer, the CEO of the Earth and Spirit Center. I'm joined by my partner in crime and longtime friend, Karen Newton. Hi, Karen.
Hey, good morning, Kyle. Crime.
Hey,
Ooh.
okay, partner in all good things, maybe occasional crimes. So, Karen, you are a long-term senior instructor at the Earth and Spirit Center. You have for many years taught a course that once upon a time was called Basic Mindfulness for Stress Resilience, but we have together have gotten very clever and renamed it Applied Mindfulness for Cultivating Resilience and Well-Being. So we'll dig into that title in just a moment, but I'm wondering for folks who may not be familiar with you and your work, if you could just say a word or two about your background and maybe how you came to meditation and how you came to meditation teaching.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you once again for anticipating another good year of teaching in our 2023 season. Looking
All
forward.
right, people are back in the barn. We have this pandemic kind of in the rearview mirror. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. So we have the pandemic in our rearview mirror, and yet it is still influencing many, many of us every day.
Yes.
So one of the reasons that I'll mention the title and then tell a little bit about myself. One of
Okay.
the reasons that we decided to update the title is because now more than ever, people are looking for direct intervention, if you will. You know, I'm done reading. I have 100 books. I still feel agitated
Right. And
most of
just
the
because you
time.
read something about spirituality doesn't mean that it's
Right.
actually
So
sunk
what do you
in
got for
and
me
useful.
is
Right.
this course is for folks who are saying, I want to apply what I've heard about or what I've read about. And that's why we renamed the course
Mhm.
to
Right.
be
This stuff needs to
more
work.
held
It needs to be
accountable
practical.
for this is about application. So how I came to this was all because of my search for application.
Mm.
And my search for some kind of meditation practice goes back 40 years when I was in my late 20s and looking for some source of balance and stability in what I thought was a very crazy making time.
And at that time, meditation would not have been as much in vogue as it is now. That would have been, in the beginning stages of John Kabat-Zinn's work and all of that, right?
Right, and I was living in Southern California at the time, so
Oh, well, then that explains everything.
a certain type of meditation
Yeah.
teaching was dominant at that time, and so I tried that. I tried a couple versions. I think folks understand that there are many different versions of how one practices this thing we call
Mhm.
meditation, and
Mhm.
I happened to get into two different traditions that did not resonate with what I was looking for. So
Mhm.
it was about 22 years ago, strangely, after leaving Southern California and coming to Kentucky, that
The
I actually,
meditation mecca.
of sorts, yes, because the search continued till I found the tradition that I now currently have adopted and have been practicing for over 20 years. And we call that tradition several names: mindfulness, vipassana, insight. But those
Mhm.
names refer to this particular tradition of practice that I teach, as well as that's how I practice in my own life.
Mhm. And then you were at U of L for many years in public health, teaching meditation there too, right?
Yes, I worked for U of L for 18 years. In the last 12 years, I was the director of uh, Student Health Services Division for Health Promotion and Well-Being. So it was in that capacity that I was able to bring various forms of meditation to campus. And I ultimately found this curriculum called Koru Mindfulness, and I became certified and brought that formally to the campus in 2015. So
Right.
I've been teaching that now for going on 8 years.
Okay. And as I recall, this course has its roots in the Koru curriculum, correct?
You're right, Kyle. And I love having the opportunity to explain what Koru mindfulness is. Koru. It refers to the New Zealand, the Maori image of the unfurling of the fern.
Oh,
So
I
if,
did not know that. Okay. I always thought it was
oh,
an acronym for something. Okay.
oh, good. I'm glad we brought that up. So
Yes.
that beautiful imagery that happens in meditation, the unfurling of a fern and balance around a stable core is what the Maori word actually means. So the folks who developed this got permission from the Maori peoples to use that word to describe this curriculum, and I use that as the core for our applied mindfulness.
Ah, well, beautiful. Well, I cannot wait for these courses to unfurl in the new year. And just to folks will be able to click on links connected with this video to get the details. But just quickly, you're going to offer this course 2 times in January and, as I recall, in March, January 9th and March 27th. It's a 5-week course. We've built that up from a 4-week course. And we have morning and evening sessions for this. In just a few words, Karen, what kind of audience would be appropriate for a course like this, and what can someone expect out of these 5 weeks of applied mindfulness course?
Well, historically, the folks who have come to my courses at Earth and Spirit Center include people who've never meditated a day in their life, or they may have tried it on their own with an app, or they may have read a lot of books and they're wanting to actually come in and get some direct instruction. I've also had many folks who have come who have a background in taking other courses, have had a meditation practice, and they're looking for community. They're looking for a jumpstart or a refresh or a new set of forms by which they can engage in their practice.
Mm.
So either part of that spectrum of brand new beginner to beginning again is welcome. Okay. And one of the hallmarks, if you will, of this particular course is the variety of forms of practice that I teach. So in a 5-week course, people get 12 different forms by which they can engage in meditation or mindfulness.
Right, because as I remember, and I've taken this course back when it was called Basic Mindfulness, and a little different iteration, but in any given day when you're trying to meditate, a particular practice may simply not work for you. You simply can't get still. It's there's some other disturbance going on mentally, and you need to pull a different tool out of the toolbox, right?
Exactly. And the permission and the teaching that occurs in this course, which is so dynamic, is how does one acquire an individualized practice so that it really becomes part of your daily applied life, not just something you do by rote because you're supposed to,
right.
But that is something that fits what is showing up in your life that day.
Well, I will be your personal testimony here, Karen, because as I said, I have taken your course and I've been a meditator for 30 plus years now. And I found so many wonderful treasures in that, in your teaching, and I've continued to use them. So I personally found it helpful. And I also am especially glad that in later years, we've integrated more compassion practices as well. So it's not just inward focus on meditation, but it's also an outward focus of kind of engaging yourself for the good of the world, for the good of compassion toward yourself, of course, but then outwardly focused compassion too. Do I have that part of the syllabus right?
Absolutely. And we've added the 5th week to make sure that we teach a very specific compassion practice called loving kindness. But in fact, every single session of this 5-week course has an inward outward focus, and we refer to that phenomena as inner being, that we come to realize that in community is where we experience the truth, if you will, that everyone suffers, everyone wants what I want in terms of peace of mind, and we all want to share that experience of having a sense of purpose and direction and meaning in our lives. That's the beauty of coming together to learn in a group.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of my favorite phrases, and I don't even know what the attribution is anymore, if that's even known, but it's be kind because everyone you meet is carrying a heavy burden. And that comes to mind now in the context of discussing your course, because your course is both about being kind, and it's also about giving people tools to carry heavy burdens, whether their own burdens or the burdens of those they love and care about. Karen, I'm so grateful that you teach this valuable course with the Earth and Spirit Center. Again, the title is Applied Mindfulness, Cultivating Resilience and Well-Being. It's a 5-week course beginning in January. So those of you who are doing New Year's resolutions about being more present and centered can have an opportunity to jump right in to fulfill those resolutions, or wait till March 27th. Karen, again, wonderful that you provide such fantastic content and process and gather community around it. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my honor, my pleasure.